Hello, today is May 23rd, so we read Proverbs 23 and Jeremiah 43. So I'm going to start off with Jeremiah 43. 43, right? Mm-hmm. Alright, so I like that. I actually read the wrong chapter. I read 35.
What does that have to do with 43? Go ahead. What did you get out of 35?
Oh, well, in 35, it was about like how the family, it was how Jeremiah was trying to talk to the family of, I forgot what ruler or something, but basically the story was they didn't like disobey no matter what happened. Like even when the king had come through the land and like had taken over, they still didn't waver. They didn't buckle. So they accommodated. So it may be a lot of stuff going on nowadays, but you shouldn't. Just because things are changing doesn't mean you have to too, because things are changing for the better, but also some things aren't. So it's good to stay solid in what your beliefs are and not just let people influence you just maybe because you want to be accepted by them, or you want to stay present with like the times or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that was all.
Okay, well, you're talking about how they did obey and follow the Lord's commands. Well, in Jeremiah 43, it talked about how the people did not obey the voice of the Lord. In fact, they were like, you know what, we can go to Egypt. What you're saying, Jeremiah, doesn't make sense. Thou speakest falsely, it says in verse 2. And pretty much at the end, it said that the Lord gave a pronouncement. He said, I will kindle a fire in the houses of the gods of Egypt, and he shall burn them, and he will break also the images. And in verse 11 it says, he shall smite the land of Egypt and deliver such as for death to death, captivity to captivity, sword to sword. So it pays to listen to the Lord or the people who have the message of God, and not to just do your own thing and say like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, because the pronouncements of the Lord are sure. And in Proverbs 23,
I like verse 28. She's like a robber. It's talking about an unfaithful or loose woman. She's like a robber lying in ambush. She spreads unfaithfulness throughout society. So I understand how easy it is for a lot of men to fall into temptation. And I'm not blaming it on a woman. It's also up to the men to stay solid. But there are like a lot of, like, it's so easy to fall into traps, especially in marriage and stuff like that. Trying to stay like faithful and whatnot. And you have to understand what you're doing it for and the implications of like later on in life, how it affects your children. Or it's just a thief. It may feel good in the moment, but it just detracts from you and the people around you.
And you were talking about an episode on The Wire where you were so happy that a guy...
the mayor, he was about to cheat on his wife, but he didn't. So it was good to see that. That's all. Even though it's a show, it still made me happy.
That's great. And pretty much we are to buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom, instruction, and understanding. And the Lord's teachings will guard you during those times where temptation is right there. 1 Corinthians 10:31, it says, the Lord is familiar with our weaknesses, and he promises that we will not be tempted above which we can bear, but he will give us a way of escape every time, an exit. Even if our weakness is eating, right, gluttony, drunkenness, infidelity, all of that, the Lord will provide a way if we are listening and we're obedient. Okay, well, thank you, Timotheus.
Welcome.
All right, have a good evening in the Lord.